teaches PRE and she's the head of humanities at Noel High School. And our question is, why are religions separated when they share more comparisons than differences?
What do you mean by that question?
So, for example, Judaism, Islam, and Christianity all follow Abrahamic faith, so they're all Abrahamic faith religions. So why are they separated? Judaism, Islam, and Christianity. Why are they separate when they share such a big kind of belief and a big belief that's part of all three religions? But why are they different?
Now, what I do find quite interesting about religion is that people are quite prepared to be very, very passionate and committed to their particular viewpoint. Abraham's a really interesting one because where his grave is, in Hebron, there are 3 different entrances, one for each different faith, and it is heavily guarded on each side. So you'd think that these 3 faiths would actually be united through a belief in Abraham. And they are in many ways, because you have lots of interfaith dialogue between Muslims, Jews and Christians. You have a lot of work in Israel and Palestine going on now between those 3 groups as well to try and overcome those particular difficulties. I suppose at the end of the day it depends on what you believe is going to happen in the afterlife.
Okay.
So if you are a believer in Judaism, you don't actually believe that Jesus is the Messiah. The Messianic age hasn't come. If you are a believer in Islam, then Jesus, again, is not the Son of God. You can't believe in that concept. So there are huge divisions, actually, even though Abraham represents monotheism. Each 3 have very different doctrines about what the nature of God is like, what the afterlife will be like.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, I'm here with Tarika Imani, a student from Watford Grammar. So today I'm going to ask you a question. Why are religions separated when they share more comparisons than differences? So can you answer this on Sikhism and Islam point of view?
I suppose the main factor could be media and the media's representation of different religions. So, for example, ISIS, that's not, those aren't Muslims, those aren't even humans, really. It's a very extremist coverage, and I think the same can be said for Sikhs, because, for example, I don't know whether you heard about that story in the news a couple of weeks ago where there was an interfaith marriage, which is when 2 people of different faiths get married, and one person was a Sikh and one person, I'm not sure what religion they were. But basically there were these Sikhs and they just, they locked themselves into the Sikh place, and quite a few, I think it's called a Gurdwara, and basically there was quite a few people felt scared of that and stuff. But obviously those aren't everyday Sikhs, and there's lots of extremist views I think in both religions, but that isn't the actual religious beliefs. So I think, so for example, both Sikhs cover their head like the men, and women in Islam cover our heads as well, and I think there's lots of fundamental principles across religions that are similar. So, for example, nuns cover their hair, and so do we. And I think really it's just, over time, media sort of warped other people's views of it. And also there's a psychological study that says that when you see someone who's not of the same either faith, religion, race as you, you immediately have an increase in adrenaline, which means that you're scared of them. So, so for example, if a white person was looking at a black person, then the white person would subconsciously, maybe not meaning to, but would feel a surge of adrenaline, which means that they're scared of that black person. And the same way works both ways around. So I suppose maybe it's the same with religions, I guess.
Okay, thank you for listening. Thank you for answering my question.
That's right.
So we're here with Mrs. Butterworth, and we're going to ask her, is religion meaningful in the 21st century? Yes, I think religion can be meaningful in the 21st century for lots of different people and for a number of different reasons. I think primarily in times of uncertainty, whether that's global, national, or just individual uncertainty and turmoil, that religion can allow people to find a way forward and to help make meaning of what is occurring and to provide great comfort. I think secondly, religion also continues to allow people and to support people in the establishment of their own moral code and their own morality and how they want their life to be guided and the ways in which they want to conduct themselves.